Yes guys, what's going on? Welcome to AdamMcKola TV. We are back with another Premier League Gazette. I've got a coffee, I've got the papers. It's Monday morning and we're back here on AdamMcKola TV to go through all the latest sport headlines. I say sport, we're strictly talking football here. More Project Restart stuff, more things about Manchester United, because we all know the British press love to rabbit on about Manchester United, which is great because it gives us stuff to chat about. But imagine you support another club at this time and you try to go through the papers and find stories about yourself. There's not many stories on other clubs beyond just the Premier League in general and Man United. We are kind of the big deal. I hope you guys are well. You lot are kind of a big deal as well, and you've been giving massive support to the channel over the last couple of months, so thank you very much for getting involved. Make sure you're subscribing to the channel, liking, commenting and sharing, because this is your channel. I want you to keep involved, and of course if you can, click that join button and check out what it means to join AdamMcKola TV and support the channel. But for now, let's get stuck into these newspapers. So first things up, we've got the Mirror, and today's Mirror says football is safer than shopping, and that is the message to Premier League stars. They are being told that by the Premier League, as Premier League players will be this week told to return to training and games will be safer than going to the supermarket. That is designed to reassure the players in talks about Project Restart amid lingering fears about their health and safety in the coronavirus pandemic. So footballers are being told football's safer than shopping. We also hear here that now there's a third Brighton player that has tested positive for the coronavirus, which, imagine having all this talk about when you're going to restart and all this kind of thing, but you've got players that are out there and they've got the coronavirus and they're going to need to be used in fixtures at some point. What happens if that happens during the season? Does that team drop out? Do those players drop out? Does the team season delayed for 40? Like, what goes on at that point if we have an infection amongst the squad or something like that once the restart does begin? Who knows? But that's a question they've got to ask themselves. Chelsea eye Rice to replace Real target and N'Golo Kante. John Cross here saying Chelsea will move for West Ham's Declan Rice if they lose N'Golo Kante. Now Real Madrid have been linked with him. And are Real Madrid going to sign Kante? I wouldn't be surprised to see Kante leave Chelsea. I feel like Lampard hasn't used him in the correct position. Pretty much the same thing Sarri was criticised for, except Lampard gets away with it because he's English and the press love him. And apparently he plays loads of youth. Yeah. But yeah, I'd rather see Chelsea go for Declan Rice than Manchester United. He's an average player, decent player, but for the fee that is being talked about, no thank you very much. You can get players for half that price elsewhere that will probably be twice the player as well, so not for me. And I'm glad it's Chelsea being linked with him at this moment in time. Battle of the Sixes as we go inside. It says the Big Six warn any attempt to thwart the Project Restart will do lasting damage to the Premier League standing in Europe, and the bottom six insist the neutral venues issue is unfair to them and blast the alarming info on restart as only a few slides in a presentation. The bottom six clubs feel there isn't enough guidance on, you know, safety of the players and those kind of things. They need more. This is the best quote: "We can't possibly make critical decisions without knowing all the health and safety, sporting, operational and financial consequences." Now there's 6 teams, I'm not going to call them the bottom 6, it's a bit disrespectful, but the 6 teams that are against these proposals for the Project Restart are saying they need more information, and they feel like a lot of this information is being overlooked just because of the financial impact. And the Big Six feel that if these 6 clubs are going to continue to drag their heels and not go along with the decisions that the Big Six are making, then, you know, that could affect their future decisions and their future relationship. There's always talk about a European Super League and things like that, and people are feeling like if the Big Six are pissed off, then this is going to affect their relationship for the near future. And they're trying to, it's scaremongering, isn't it? Using scare tactics. There is something else in here as well, which says, you know, the argument that the bottom 6 wanted relegation to be taken off the table if neutral venues were used is false. So they never wanted that, and it was immediately taken off the table anyway. So it does seem like there's a lot of briefing on both sides of the argument and both sides of the fence. in terms of those that want Project Restart to go ahead and those that are against it. So it's going to drag on, and obviously they got that meeting today, which we'll find more out about. But I can imagine the decisions will be rumbling on for a while. There's also a small story here where it says Herrera warns Pogba to stay put. He hasn't really said that. His quote was, "He can be the best midfielder in the world. I've never seen a midfielder who has all the qualities Pogba has. We read every day that he wants to leave, but I think all the United fans want to see the best of him." And that isn't even his full quote. We discussed Ander Herrera's full quotes in United Daily yesterday. We go inside now, and we've got United stuff. As I promised you, we've always got United stuff there. A little bit of a throwback and a little bit of a classic to David Beckham. Ryan Giggs says it was getting all too much between Fergie and David. They were fighting every other week and it was time to move on. The boss mellowed a bit as he got older, and that picture there of Beckham with the Alice band on, his hair pushed back and the butterfly stitches over his cut above his eye is an iconic one, and it's one that really disappoints me. I remember being a kid and seeing that. I loved Sir Alex Ferguson, and I never really felt at any point in his time at United I was against him. So even though him and my favourite ever player were going head to head, you know how nowadays people might start getting on the manager's back because of it. I was never against Fergie because of that, because, you know, that's what he was like. But I really wanted them to sort this relationship out and become best of friends again, because I wanted Beckham to stay at United. And Ryan Giggs is just speaking about those times at United and how the arguments between Beckham and Fergie rambled on too long, and as a result he had to go. And it's a shame. Beckham should have been on the pitch with Sir Alex Ferguson in that Swansea game at the end of the 12-13 season with Scholesy and that. Beckham should have been there. Giggs, Scholes, Beckham on the pitch with Sir Alex. That would have been the ideal one, innit? But it's a shame. He still went on to have a great career, obviously, but it's a shame he never finished it at United. Maguire's been talking about Marcus Rashford as well and says he is the greatest talent he has played with. He says, "I've always spoken highly of Marcus when I was with him in England. I think he's going to have an exceptional career. I think he's going to go on, though I don't want to put too much pressure on him, to be a wonderful player for Man United." He's already a wonderful player for Man United, but I totally get what Harry Maguire is saying. He can go down as a Manchester United great. That is for sure. Now, we've just got inside here the last story that we'll look at in the Mirror today. And it's the 11th of May today, 35 years on since the 1985 Valley Parade tragedy, where there was a fire at Valley Parade, and many people lost their lives. So yeah, we need to, there's a post right on time. Just a little, the 56 people that died in the fire in Bradford. I suppose it's the anniversary today, so rest in peace to all those guys. And yeah, sad stuff. But if you've never heard about it, it's a surprise. Read up on it. It's interesting. It's a little bit depressing, obviously, because of the subject matter, but it's important to know your history of English football, and I'm sure this is a big part of it. 1985, May the 11th, 1985. Today marks the 35th anniversary of that fateful day on May the 11th, 1985, when a blaze ripped through the main stand at Valley Parade, claiming the lives of 56 people, including women and children. That led to the banning of wooden grandstands in stadiums. Obviously that played a big part in the fire going up, and 56 people losing their lives. So rest in peace to them, and they'll never be forgotten. We move on to the Times here. We've got Brighton test adds to fears over restart. So more discussion ahead of that, you know, possible Premier League return and Project Restart meeting. So this is what it says. Opposition to the Premier League's plan to resume the season was growing among clubs yesterday, as Brighton and Hove Albion confirmed that a third member of their squad had tested positive for COVID-19. Representatives of the 20 clubs will hold a video conference this morning to discuss key aspects of Project Restart, including safety protocols for return to training that will be presented for approval. So we'll find out more whether we're going to see a return to training anytime soon. But that news is bad. And you hear, look, Henry Winter's writing about the comments from Todd Cantwell, who was tweeting saying, "We are humans too." And you know, some footballers are going to be against that return. they're not going to want to return. So what happens if some members of squads aren't there, some are, you've got patched up squads, and is it fair? Is the integrity of the game left there? Or do we just have to go ahead because of the money involved? And it does feel like that latter is going to be becoming the case. Let me see what else is in here. There's a lot to read here. UEFA plan to axe qualifiers. UEFA is considering plans to shorten the qualification competitions for next season's Champions League and Europa League, or in a worst case scenario, scrap them altogether. They've already pushed back the start of the Champions League to October, but there remains uncertainty over whether the qualifying competitions can be scheduled in time. So we'll see the Champions League possibly change shape and change face as well. Then we got rugby and horse racing inside there, so not much else inside the Times. Not sure why I bought that. That was 180. What a waste of money that was. And now we go on to the Express. Lovely little bit of tabloid here for you. And it's got Prem hit by failed test, major blow to restart as Brighton star gets the virus. Again, playing will be safer than doing your shopping. And Chelsea placed rice on the menu, as well as another bit on the Bradford Fire Valley Parade. So when you're looking at all these kind of things here, it's all very similar to what has been in other newspapers. We're waiting for that meeting between the Premier League clubs to find out what's going on in terms of training. We're not going to find out more on neutral venues because they're not voting on that. But it does seem if there's going to be a return to football, then it is going to be in neutral venues. There's a bit here on the latter stages of the Champions League being in August. And that kind of goes in line with the reports we heard regarding the Europa League being in August as well. Khashoggi fiance is a story here. Now, Jamal Khashoggi was the journalist that was killed by the Saudi government, allegedly. But it was killed 2 years ago, with intelligence agencies pointing the finger at Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, who's linked with buying Newcastle. And it seems his fiance is losing the battle to block the Toon deal. Ultimately, again, money will prevail. And people will overlook that. They overlooked it with City's owners. They overlooked the immoral way the Glazers bought Manchester United, and now the Glazers aren't as bad as these guys or anything like that. Although ethically, morally, whatever, they're not great. But these human rights abusers, everything will just be overlooked. I mean, our governments are in deals with them. So how can you expect, you know, a football club not to be sold to them? Government ain't going to get involved with them. There's too much money they'll lose out on. If the government starts saying, well, we've got to block this because, you know, these guys are immoral, then so why are you involved in weapons deals with them then? Why are you involved in all these kind of deals with them if they're immoral? So the government aren't going to stand in the way of this sale going through. So that's going to happen. If the money's there from the Saudis and they want it, it'll happen. It's as simple as that. Fergie had to give Becks the boot. More on that. And more on Harry hailing amazing Rashford. He's amazed me. He's the most talented player I've played with. Not bad at all, is it? Guys, thank you for tuning in to another Premier League Gazette. That has been it for today. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Good chat. When's the season going to restart? Will it happen now these Brighton players have all got the Rona? Will they force it behind closed doors? Now, as a Man United fan, people say to me, oh, you don't want it to happen behind closed doors because you don't want Liverpool to be in the top. I want some football to talk about. We need some football to talk about here. There's only so many weeks we can do Premier League Gazette talking about Project fucking Restart, isn't there? Anyway, guys, thank you for tuning in. Make sure you like and comment and share and subscribing. Join in if you can too. Viva Regalo stuff's out down there somewhere. And for now, I'm AdamMcKola. I'm out of here.